What is up, guys? It's me, Teyanna, and I'm in Korea. Today is June 2nd. It is currently 10:20 in the morning, and I'm gonna sit down and talk to you about what the heck happened over these past couple of days. Alright, so I'm gonna be talking about 5 things. I'm gonna talk about the documentation I got before my flight, the documentation I got on my flight details, like just the flight review, customs, and the whole bus hotel quarantine thing. So let's get into it. Let's not dilly-dally. First things first, if you look up any sort of website, YouTube video, Reddit thread, you will see that everybody says you need to get a negative PCR test 72 hours before your flight. My flight was on Saturday in Jersey time, and it was about like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So what I did was I got mine on Thursday, which was 36 hours before my flight to be safe. And I got it done at like my local, I don't know how to explain it. It's not a hospital and it's not really a doctor's office, but it kind of is a doctor's office. I don't know. So I got it there. I noticed when I did a lot of research that everybody said that it needed to make sure it had the place that you got it from. What I did was I took the business card from the place that I went to and I had them stamp it, and then that was fine. I didn't have any problems with that. Another thing that I needed to have was a Korean contact and phone number. People were saying that they could just have their Korean number and then just put that on as a contact. But then others were saying that's not possible because the customs people will call your emergency contact and they have to answer. So I didn't think it could be yourself. Me, I'm here in Korea for a program that I'm doing. So I used their contact information, like the person who I'm gonna, like my teacher or whatever, their emergency number. That's what I used for my customs contact, and then the place that I'll be staying after I get out of quarantine. Me being me, better safe than sorry, I also printed out a copy of my passport, so that's fun. I didn't need it because I had my real passport with me, but just in case, better safe than sorry. Also have documents that weren't asked for, but I still brought them anyway just because I'd rather have more than less. One of them being my program confirmation letter. I really did think that they were going to ask me for this when they asked me why I was here, but in the documentation that I got on the flight, which I'll talk about soon, I kind of just wrote briefly like why I was here, language program, and that was about it. So they didn't really need this, but I brought it anyways just in case. The last one that I brought that I don't really think changed anything was the Korean electronic travel authorization form. My friend, he got here before I did, he's Korean, he told me that I needed to fill this out because it would speed up the immigration process. I'm not entirely sure if it did, but I filled it out anyway. It was like 5 minutes, and yeah, I took it with me. I gave it to the people, like when they asked me for stuff, I just gave it to them and they took a look at it. So I think that it definitely did something. If not, then I mean, it is what it is. Okay, the second thing that I wanted to talk about was the documentation that was given to me while I was on the plane. When I got on the plane, everything was smooth sailing or whatever. The stewardess ended up giving, I think it was 3 papers, and it was basically all the same thing, just in different sized papers. Basically asking my name, my full name that I had to put, by the way, my full name, my birthday, my passport number, my nationality, if I've visited any other countries in the last month, where I'll be staying, my emergency contact, and just me basically agreeing to following the laws here and staying in quarantine, not breaking quarantine, and paying the price of quarantine, whatever the price was going to be. I want to say first off, like right off the bat, I wasn't allowed to choose my quarantine facility. I'll get into that later, but just for the time being, I wasn't allowed to choose. And the price ranged from $1,500 to $2,100. in US dollars. So, I mean, that was the range, and I had to be willing to pay any of that criteria. I got on my flight at around 2 o'clock, and I didn't land. I got into my flight 2 o'clock Jersey time, and I didn't land until like 4 a.m. Jersey time, which is 5 p.m. Korean time. I'm going to be talking about the time just so you have an understanding of what it looked like being awake or, active during those times. When I got onto the flight, they gave us a blanket, a sleeping mask, like an eye mask thing. I forget what it's called. They gave us a toiletries bag of like toothbrush, toothpaste. I believe it was skincare stuff. I didn't take a look in it, but those things. The flight itself was good. I didn't really have any problems up until the 9th hour. That's when I started developing a soreness in my leg, but obviously that's going to be the case if you're not moving and you're just sitting in a chair. The food that they gave was good. I did take pictures, so the food that they gave was good. I spent my time just listening to the songs that were on the TV screen. I was playing Sudoku. I mean, it was a good flight. The lady next to me was really nice. Now I'm gonna start with what happened when I landed and going through customs. I landed at around 5:40 p.m. and once we got out of the plane, the first thing was like customs. I got out the plane and I looked and there's just a line of people. Like I couldn't even walk that far because that's how many people just kind of came out. Everybody in the quarantine videos says that you have to download the 2 apps. Now, my experience versus the experience of the people that I watched on YouTube was a little bit different because the people that I watched on YouTube prior to coming here always said that you needed to download the 2 apps and you needed to update both apps. I downloaded both of the apps, but then one of the workers in the airport told me to delete an app and to only use the app that they told me to use. However, when I got to the hotel people told me to ignore the app that the airport people told me to only use and then to re-download the app that the airport people made me delete, if that makes sense. I used the app that the hotel gave me because they just told me to ignore the airplane one, like the airport one. So that's what I'm doing. So if I get caught, sent to jail, something, then you guys know that it was miscommunication on the airport and the hotel and that I need to be freed. Also, going through customs, that's where I had to speak with somebody there, and they were like, why are you here? When's your birthday? Things like that. And then I gave them the number of my contact. They called my contact. My contact was like, yep, I'm here for Teyanna. She's here for a language program, just like my paperwork had said. And then that was it. And then I went through customs. Some guy made me like take off my mask, scan my fingerprints, took my photo, and then boom, I was out. I was really disappointed because I thought he was gonna stamp my passport because I have like 3 stamps on my passports from where I traveled to previously. But I didn't get a stamp this time. They just took my photo, which is whack. But I mean, I don't know, I'll make up for it somehow. After I got out of customs, I went straight to baggage claim, got my suitcase, and then I headed towards the exit of the airport. I didn't really know where I was going because they didn't have any signs or anything, but I just assumed that that's where I needed to go since that's where everybody else was going. I walked to the area, and in customs they gave me a lanyard, so I guess people in the airport knew that the lanyard that I was wearing was strictly for quarantine. So somebody put me to the side and I sat in like some waiting area waiting for the bus. I got to the bus waiting station at around 6:20 at night, and we didn't move until I didn't actually get inside the bus until like an hour later at 7:21. They didn't tell us where we were going because there were 2 different, there were other buses, so whichever bus came first, and if you had the right amount of people, that's where you guys were going. So that's what happened to us. I didn't get a chance or a choice in where I was going, so I just sat there, waited for an hour until the guy said that there was a bus, got on the bus, waited. My hotel was actually 10 minutes away from the airport, so we drove there. We got to the hotel at around 7:35, and then I see that the name of the hotel, and I look it up, and it's a 5-star hotel. So I'm like, this is definitely going to cost me a good amount of money, considering that everybody that I watched on YouTube always said that there was going to be like a 3-star hotel or a 5-star, and the prices varied based off which type of hotel you were going to. So I was like, great, I'm gonna spend a lot of money before I even actually like get out of quarantine. So I get in, and the people in the hotel are wearing like thick hazmat suits and like masks. It was like heavy duty. And they told us to put our suitcases to the side, made us sit down, and fill out a bunch of other paperwork. The paperwork that we filled out in the hotel was very similar, if not exactly the same, to the paperwork that I had to fill out on my flight, and then I had to pay up front. So for me, in the hotel that I'm staying in, I only had to pay $1,500, which is like the least amount on the range, which I was very surprised for, very grateful for. And then they just gave me like paperwork talking about, depending on when I came in, when I can leave, like what numbers to call if I need something, what I can't do, when food comes and stuff like that. They gave us like bags to put our like stuff in, and then a specific time to pick it up. We were in the hotel lobby for 2 hours just filling out paperwork, waiting and listening to the workers just talk to us and describe to us like how this is going to go down. I didn't actually get to my hotel room until 10 p.m., which means from my flight to the moment I got into my hotel room, it had been about 5 hours, not even counting the 14-hour flight that I had, plus the 4 hours that I had to be awake prior to get ready and come to the airport. So I got in my room, texted everybody that like knew that I was here, and then knocked out, went to sleep. One thing that really prepared me, that I took away from my YouTube videos, was to stay calm and stay kind. If you're nice to the people that are working and doing their jobs, then they're gonna help you out. When I got to the hotel, there were these 2 ladies, and they were being like very obnoxious and like impatient, and they were getting on the workers' nerves. And the worker came over to the group that I was with, and we were just like chilling, just talking, just trying to stay relaxed, trying to stay awake. And we were just trying to like make sure we had everything we needed to have. And the workers would come up to us and be like, oh, thank you for being so patient, like I really appreciate blah 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 blah. And then like didn't say anything with those ladies. They just like got rid of them as quick as possible. So I think that I like got like a really good room with a good view. I don't think a lot of people got that because I'm on this side of the hotel, which kind of shows a lot of stuff, and then the other side is more like countryside. So I think that's where they put the ladies. And then as I left to come up to my room, they did give us like a meal for the night, like a dinner sort of. And I thanked one of the workers, and I was like, thank you so much, like this was really helpful. I hope you guys have a great night. And then because he thought I was so nice, he gave me like an extra thing of ramen and like some more snacks. And he was like, oh, don't worry about it, like thank you for being patient. So that was great. They also gave me a set. They gave me a thermometer, they gave me hand sanitizer, they gave me masks, and I think that's it. Like that, and that's like all they gave us like for the night, and our dinner, of course. So that's what I've been doing ever since. I'm gonna talk more about the food situation and stuff next video, and room tour, like chit chat type of thing. But this is all I have about what it was like to fly over here. It was definitely an interesting experience. One thing that I took away from the YouTubers that I watched to prepare for this trip, you can be as prepared as you think you are. Like you could prepare for so much, prepare for months. Like I prepared this for months, and I was still unprepared in the sense like I had everything I needed to, but I was still lacking in direction and explanation. And that's not something that any YouTuber that I've watched has expressed. Like you're gonna be confused. You're not gonna know what hotel you're going to. You're not gonna know when you're going. Like you're just gonna have to sit there, and you're just gonna have to wait until somebody like tells you. Like there's not, like nobody has an answer for everything. And I think that that's something that I really struggled with, because I'm that type of person who's like, I want to know everything so I know that I won't mess up. Well, from the moment I got there, I was messing up And it is what it is. It's something that I'm gonna have to work on and practice the more that I'm here, given the language barrier, and my Korean skills aren't up to par with everything that's going on right now. So that's one thing that I'm gonna take with me when I get out of here, and I'm just gonna carry it with me with my program and my trip. If you guys want to see like daily shenanigans or whatever, I do have social medias. I don't think I promoted them last video, but I guess I'll do it here just in case like you somehow found this and you have no clue who I am. My Instagram will be like in the description box, and my Snapchat. Thank you. Bye guys. Stay safe, mask up, get vaccinated if you're not, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.